10:02. So this is the New Mexico Drought Monitoring Workgroup. Welcome all. And as we always do, we'll go around the call and see who's on. And this is Dave Dubois down in Las Cruces.
Susan Rich, New Mexico State Forestry in Albuquerque.
Chris Haynes, NRCS Snow Survey, State Office in Albuquerque.
Mariana Padilla with Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham's office.
Curtis McFadden, Army Corps of Engineers, Albuquerque District.
Louis Valdez, Office of the State Engineer.
Chuck Jones, National Weather Service, here in Albuquerque, along with the Sean Bennett, MIC.
All right. Okay. So welcome everyone again. And if Chuck has the go-to up and running, I can see. Anybody have problems? Welcome. We're just getting started.
Good morning. It's Anne-Marie.
Hi, Anne-Marie. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So Chuck was just about to get the Weather Service slideshow up and going. So go ahead, Chuck.
All right, thanks, guys. Welcome, everybody. Rain, or lack thereof, precipitation so far this month. Not too good, obviously, in the northwest half. Very nice, though, in the southeast third or so of the state. Certainly above normal there so far as we head into the second half of the month. Just to put everybody in a bad mood, here's the snowpack, 1 month change. Obviously, things have gone downhill quite a bit, not only in New Mexico, but Utah and Colorado. And just really to make it worse is just in the last 3 weeks now, it's deteriorated even more. Most of New Mexico, southern areas, western areas, and even the Jemez areas have depleted their snowpack, and there's not a lot of it up in the San Juans and Sangre de Cristos. Pecos, headwaters of the Pecos River here, not doing horrible, about half, but obviously not very good, well below what it should be this time of the year. And fifth year in a row we've seen very similar conditions this time of the year. And another way of looking at it is the snow depth here. Again, just a little bit over the San Juans and Sangre de Cristos. So how did we do last month? Not terrible. Statewide average was 89% of normal, about 1/10 of an inch below normal. You can see, though, that the areas that did the best are across the south in terms of departure from normal. With many areas, central, east, and north, not doing very well. And it turns out to be ranked as the 64th driest on record. Again, just a little bit below normal. Certainly better than the last three Marches. If we break it down by climate division, more clearly here showing the poor percent of normals across the northern 3 climate divisions. Northwest, the northern mountains, northeast, all doing very poorly here. It's about 23, 54, and 48% of normal. While southern areas doing the best. Southern, southwest, south central deserts down here, 165%, and southeast plains, 106%. Pretty good here too, right in the middle of the state, 122%. If we back up to January, look at the 3-month precipitation, it certainly looks better than March does, although the percent's coming down. We're down to 141% of normal for the year. Clearly showing the east doing very well. Not as good across the west, although we do have a nice area here. Portions of the middle lower Rio Grande Valley back toward the southwest mountains here doing pretty well. Works out to be the 19th wettest first 3 months of any year, over 3/4 of an inch above normal. Now, if we go back to October, look at the past 6 months, which would be the water year, 2015 water year, dropped down to about 108% of normal, so still not too bad. A lot of areas pretty close to normal here. Some pockets where we're above normal, most of those showing up again in the east, and then down here, Socorro County. That ends up being the 42nd wettest at about 3/8 hundredths, about 1/3 of an inch above normal still. Now back to a 12-month period, April of last year through March of this year. Very similar to the water year average, 110% of normal, 1.4 inches above normal, statewide average. And a 24-month consecutive month period from April 2013 through March of this year, right at 102%, very close to normal. But then, as we've seen consistently here for the last year or more, when we get to 36 months, all of a sudden we're the 24th driest, almost 4 3/4 inches below normal, 89% statewide average. And again, the 48 months is 10th driest on record, and 60 months or 5 years, 9th driest on record. So it sounds like a broken record, but again, short term we're doing great. Now, we're doing better over the last about 2-year period, but when we start talking long term of 3, 4, 5 years, we're still in a significant drought. Here's a regional drought outlook. Could be worse, obviously, if you're out in a good portion of California, western Nevada, portions of northern Texas, western Oklahoma, in extreme to exceptional drought. So when you look at that and compared to other areas, we're not doing that bad. And certainly it's been an improvement here over the last couple of years. Just zeroing in on New Mexico, we still have 62% of the state in moderate to severe, but only about 19 of that is in the severe category. And if we compare that to 3 months ago, we do have some improvement. We've lost our extreme drought area that we had up in the northwest, and that's been the case since March the 3rd. The last time we didn't have any extreme drought was all the way back to March 1st of 2011. So we've seen some improvement here also at west central New Mexico. Up in the northeast, we split the severe area here. And a little bit of improvement, down in here. We've lost our little bit of the moderate and abnormally dry, and have no drought now over a good chunk of southeast New Mexico. So what to expect down the road? Here's a 3-month loop of water temperatures and their anomalies over the equatorial Pacific. It's very encouraging here toward the end of the loop. Water temperatures are coming up. And the bottom right image I want you to look at, showing just the change over the last month. from March 22nd to April 18th. Anomalies coming up very nicely across all the equatorial Pacific region, or a good part of it anyway. Here, the Niño 3.4, been consistently at a half degree or higher anomaly above normal. And I think this is the 6th month in a row now, so we have a El Niño advisory out. 2nd month now we've had that. Models and the CPC forecasters all supporting that the El Niño conditions will continue through the summer and probably through the fall. Forecasters are saying 70% chance of it continuing through the summer and 60% through the autumn. The bottom right image here is the average of the computer models, and they're a little more optimistic at around 80% through the summer and 70% fall into the winter. So, another encouraging sign there. Just the different plots of all the dynamical and statistical models, all supporting a few saying neutral conditions, but most of them El Niño, either weak to moderate, even some models suggesting a strong El Niño for the upcoming fall and winter. So that would be nice, but at this point, still, subjective and more hopeful than anything else. But CPC buying in on the May outlook here, solidly in the springtime period, tilting the odds toward above normal precipitation pretty strongly across most of New Mexico, while temperatures are tilted toward below normal for most of the state. We expand out to May through July, heading into the monsoon season. Again, pretty strong tilting toward above normal precip across New Mexico. The temperatures trending toward below normal, mainly in the eastern half. And I threw in the 3-month period for the fall and the winter, and pretty solidly in the above normal category again as the most likely scenario for September through November, and December through February as well. Probably most the southeast 2/3 or 3/4 or so of the state, particularly trending toward above normal precip. So everything we're seeing at this point looks encouraging. Seasonal outlook then, kind of a hodgepodge here of areas where we expect the drought to continue or worsen over some western areas and southwest. Other areas where we see improvement or perhaps even removal over the northeast, and some improvement in the northwest and west central. With that, we'll open up the floor to any changes anyone sees for the drought monitor map this week.
Hey Chuck, can you bring up
It's been a busy couple of weeks here, and
yeah.
I haven't really had time to delve into it in any great depth.
Can you bring up the month to date, where we are so far? I think it was the beginning, the precip.
Okay.
I think it was early on. I think it was a prism. So yeah, so it's been pretty dry for most of the state. I mean, we had hardly any, except for this far southeast, and we already have a lot of work that we did the road drought in the southeast already. So I don't see a lot of it. I don't see any improvement areas that are already there. although maybe along Roosevelt. Let me pull up the. Well, we already have that. Let me get some bad. Yeah, so we already got most all of Roosevelt taken care of already. And so it's always difficult to say how accurate that little part in Chavez County is.
Right. Yeah, this could be one area, maybe a little bit of improvement, and maybe right along.
Or far east of Taro, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's my only area. I think we could. I don't mind seeing an improvement there. That may be warranted, or at least go down one category. A road, the D1.
Mhm.
Any other?
Are any drought authors on?
I didn't hear. I know they received their email because I got the reply back from the automated system.
Mm-hmm.
But I can go ahead and shoot an email out after the call.
Okay.
Not recommending any changes to the Northeast or any of the other areas, except for the South Central Otero and a bit of the Chavez. So, any other comments? I haven't heard any rangeland. I know Les wasn't going to be on the call, but I'll need to follow up with him on any range conditions at the start of the year. I know it's been looking very green down here in Doñana County. I've been getting a lot of comments back about the flowers blooming in the desert, so which is a good sign. Okay. Well, if anybody else has any comments after the call, we can take those. But let's move on through our agenda. Raymond Abeda said he wasn't able to attend the call. He'll come in next month, and maybe I'll see if I can get some numbers from him. And
I can read the numbers for you.
Oh, do you have them? Okay.
This is Curtis.
Oh, hi, Curtis. Thanks, Curtis.
We kind of work together.
Oh, very good. Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. We're going to start on the Rio Grande Basin, starting with Platoro. 11,898 acre-feet of water. Herring content, 71,341 acre-feet. Elvado, 57,433 acre-feet of water. Abiquiu, 130,071 acre-feet. Cochiti, 48,472 acre-feet. Go down to Elephant Butte, 390,041 acre-feet of water. And then Cambayo is 35,633 acre-feet of water. Operations on the Rio Grande, it's kind of leaned up the past several weeks. I know that Elvado is starting to release some minnow water, so we can have some bypass in the middle valley. We're out of Article 7. Elephant Butte and Caballo is above that 400,000 acre-feet of water, so we're allowed to store in the upper reservoirs for right now, but that might be short-lived because of the lack of snowpack. And so that's the summary on the Rio Grande there. The Pecos, Santa Rosa, or Pecos, wherever you're from in New Mexico. Santa Rosa is 74,340 acre-feet of water. Sumner is 44,058 acre-feet. Brantley, 77,017 acre-feet of water. And Avalon, 1,000 acre-feet of water that's available there at Avalon. Pecos is running strong with all the irrigators irrigating full blown because of all the reservoirs are full at this point. We are seeing runoff into Santa Rosa. This is actually the first time in like 5 years or 4 years we're actually having a snowpack runoff into Santa Rosa. So that's a positive point on the Pecos there. And that's all I have on operations and reservoirs.
Wow, that's great. Good news on the Pecos.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for
Yeah,
Chris?
Brantley.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Brantley's that high. Main reason is because of last September historic rainfall again.
Yeah.
2 years in a row in September. That's unappropriated flood water that's being stored at Brantley. And so later in the year, Texas will call for that water, and both states will release out of Brantley sometime in July. So that's why Brantley is so high at that location.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Curtis? All right.
All right. Thank you much.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think, Chris, do you have anything to report, or do you want to talk about NRCS, Snowtel, or anything else?
Sure, you kind of covered basically the gist of it. You know, it's better than last year, but it's not great. You know, you look at all the basins throughout the state. Right now, the Canadian is, you know, about 50% of the median. You know, last year it was at 22. So we're better than last year, but not great. The Pecos, as you mentioned previously as well, is around 60, and the Rio Grande Basin is about 60% also. And then you go down south and west. You look at the Mimbres, San Francisco, Gila, and the Zuni. They're all at 0 right now for snowpack. So we really haven't seen any snow in that area except for trace amounts since probably February. You know, when I was out there, there was about 12 to 14 inches, and it's just melted off as the months have gone by, and we haven't seen any more. And that has a lot to do with the temperatures being so high. You know, they got a significant amount of rain for a while, but then none of it fell as snow. The San Juan, you know, they're not doing so great either. They're at about 50%, so you know that's affecting us south of there. And then the Rio Hondo is only at about 8, and that number's kind of old, so it's probably almost gone by now. You know, we're experiencing early runoff as well. You know, even like 2 weeks ago, I was down looking at the Rio Grande, and it looked like it was flowing pretty good, and it's even slowed down, it seems like to me, since I was taking a look at it. The last snow we had that was of any significance was at the beginning of March. You know, the first week of March, we saw a couple systems come through, but since then it's just warmed up, and there's been really no snow throughout the state. Yeah, you've got the map up there. I can see it, you know. So that's pretty much where we stand. Kind of condensed version. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. And I guess everybody says it could be worse, right?
Yeah.
A lot of red on the map everywhere
Lot.
across the western states.
All over, yeah.
Yeah.
So even Colorado River, just the northern Colorado basin, but the rest of the
Yeah, you know, we were. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just making a brief comment.
Yeah, we're pretty comparable to Colorado snowpack for quite a while, you know, up to the middle of winter, and then they kind of tapered off. They didn't do, at least southern Colorado didn't do much better than we did. That's, you know, they got the map there, you know, 55, 41, 38. North of the Sangre de Cristos, they've seen a decent amount, but the whole southern half of the state is just wasn't a good winter overall for anybody.
Yeah.
That was just for informational purposes. You know, you look at Washington State, some of the survey sites out there, they've never been able to walk to them or drive, and they're bare ground.
Wow.
In the first time in like 70 years.
Wow.
At a few of the sites. So, you know, there's some charts I'm going to show at the meeting tomorrow here in the state office, you know, and it's a significant trend towards red over the past 3 or 4 years across all of the West.
Okay. Well, thanks, Chris, for the summary. Appreciate it very much.
Well,
okay. Well, we got the USGS stream flow conditions table up. You are on, Ann? You still here? You still there? Don't know if we still have Ann Marie or not. I thought she was on. But maybe not. Okay. I'm just looking at the numbers here on the table. So we see the squint here. Well, we can send that. We can send this table out for you guys to look at.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. So just looking at Rio Grande, below Taos, Junction Bridge. This is number 9. 116% of average. So I'm not sure when this was for, but this is through October through March. So that's one of our biggest.
This is Anne Marie.
Oh, hi,
I'm
Anne Marie.
back.
Okay, great. Sorry.
I'm sorry, we're having trouble with our phones.
Oh, okay. All right, go for it.
I don't know how far you got on it.
I was just mentioning one of the Rio Grande number 9.
Okay. Orientation. This is 21 stream gauges in New Mexico that were selected as being relatively unmanaged natural flow conditions. In terms of above and below average, we're considering from 90 to 110% as average, below 90% below average, above 110% above average. By those criteria, 15 of the 21 stations were at or above average flow compared to the historic record. The high is Rio Ruidoso at Hollywood at 166%, and the low would be Coyote Creek at about 19% of average. Median is about 106% for the 21 basins. Going through it by basin, San Juan River Basin is represented by the Anomallies River, that's number 19. That's at 123% of average. Upper Rio Grande tributaries, 7 to 12 were the numbers, range from 88 to 129%. With the Jemez River, number 13, at 92% of average. The Upper Rio Grande main stem, number 9. The Rio Grande at Taos Junction Bridge is at 116% of average. Canadian River Basin, tributaries in Colfax County, that's numbers 1, 2, and 3, range from 78 to 126% of average. Going further lower down in Mora County, numbers 5 and 6 19 to 41% of average, and the main stem, number 4, is at about 21% of average. The Upper Pecos, San Miguel County, numbers 14 and 15. Pecos River at Pecos and Gallinas at Montezuma are at 106% and 138%. Lower Pecos in Otero and Eddy counties, 16, 17, and 18. The range is 88 to, as I mentioned before, 166% for the Hollywood gauge. In the Gila Basin, that's the last two sites, 20 and 21. Mogollon Creek is at 104% of average, and the Gila River at Red Rock is at 98% of average. And that's about all I have. If there are any questions. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Anne Marie. Okay, no questions there. We can go on to the Office of the State Engineer's report. Either, I think Julie or Molly or Ken.
All right, I'll go ahead and do it. So all our numbers are from USAC. We got them yesterday, and then we're also going to illustrate the previous months along with the average. The only one is that was just taken from, well, as well yesterday, but the data was taken from the USGS website. So we can go to the next slide. So this just illustrates the blue is current, the yellow bar is last year's, the red bar is average, and the green dotted line is the previous month's totals. I won't go over numbers. I'll probably just go over, this is just for visual. But I wanted to point out that Navajo is up almost 40,000 acre feet from last month. There's not a whole lot of change from. Can you go to the next slide, please? From U is pretty much the same as last month. There's just a small decrease, but it's insignificant, really. Santa Rosa, really no change as well. Fort Sumner, no change. It had a slight decrease, but it was only like 2 acre feet. No, sorry, 2,000 acre feet. Next slide. Oh, Brantley. Brantley had a 8,000 acre feet difference from last year, but of course Curtis said that they were starting to release a little bit of that water, so that's expected from that reservoir. Next slide. Heron, pretty much the same as last month. Next slide. Vado had a increase of 27,000 acre feet, even though they're starting to release.
Oh, she said they were storing.
Or they were storing? I can't remember, Curtis. I thought you said they were releasing. Maybe
they're releasing native.
So they're releasing, and they still had a 27,000 increase from last month. So that's good. ADQ, not much difference from the previous month. Elephant Butte had a increase of 31,000 acre feet. So, but Curtis also did mention they're going to start storing that for a little while. So we'll see what happens next month. And Caballo was not a whole lot of difference from the previous month. And the next slide will show just the totals, which are pretty similar to what Curtis read off. We do a little bit of rounding up. If anyone has any questions, that's all we have. Molly, did you hear back?
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I got an email from Les. He was not able to be at our call this morning, but he sent off the latest crop report from NAS, USDA NAS. And just looking at some numbers here. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Nice and bit, a lot bigger.
Yeah, I couldn't see him.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at crop and livestock progress. So they got, looks like they had the first data for the first cutting for alfalfa hay. 16% this current week. Previous week was 3, and compared to last year it was 15. And then looking at the 5-year average, about 14. Looks like. Let's see what else is on here. Well, it looks like the winter wheat's headed to current week 22%. And last week was 1. Let's see. So it looks like things are on schedule in terms of comparing this year's with last year's or above. Pasture range conditions. So looking at the current week for very poor. So we've got 8% current week compared to the same as last week, but very much an improvement over last year because they had 31, I guess at this time, that were in the very poor were compared to 8. And then looking how bad it was for the last 5 years, we were at 38% in the very poor. So we've made quite a bit of improvement, which reflects what we've been talking about. The long term has been pretty rough on our range and pasture. And similar for the poor, the current week is 11, and looking at the previous year was 40%. So it looks like all through the categories in terms of range and pasture, a lot of improvement from last year. So we're looking good. So hopefully we'll see this continue on. Okay, so let's see. Talking about soil moisture conditions. Looking at let's see, topsoil very short is 14 compared to last year it was 45. Short was 45% where it was 19 previous year, and looking at subsoil very short current week was 12%, and last year it was 40. So it'd be interesting to look at some of our scan soil moistures as well. We could to do a little summary of that at some point. Okay. And the other attachment that Les sent was a bit of legislation that the governor signed concerning the use of the drought monitor to basically justify arresting agricultural lands in the context of property tax valuations. And he sent that, and we could forward that on to folks. You can read that. It's not very long. It's 5 pages. And basically, there's a section in there, Part D, which I'll just read over real quick. It basically uses the drought monitor. Part D says, resting of land as the direct result of at least moderate drought conditions as designated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. If the drought conditions occurred in the county within which the land is located for at least 8 consecutive weeks during the previous tax year, provided that the land was used in the tax year immediately preceding the previous tax year, primarily for a purpose identified pursuant to this paragraph. So there's incorporation of our drought monitor in this new legislation that I apparently just signed just recently. I don't know which date that was signed. I guess didn't say. But anyway, we can take a look at that, and maybe next month we get Les to give us a broader implications picture of this. I can't give you that.
David?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Victor. I'm sorry.
Hey, Victor.
I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
Wait, has this already been signed into law?
Apparently it has, yeah. That's what Les says. It's been signed by the governor.
Okay. Not just because, I mean, arguably, you know, the very first item D there, the very first sentence, as designated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I mean, arguably, is the U.S. Drought Monitor the same thing as something designated by U.S. Department of Agriculture, or are we reading too much into this?
Well, yeah, I know where you're coming from in terms of the who actually does the drought declaration, you know, drought monitor.
Yeah, I wish we would just say U.S. Drought Monitor, just, you know, verbatim.
Right. That's what it. I mean, that if they had consulted us, we would have changed that wording. But I think this is already in. So yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that comment. I could forward that on. But
It may be revised, you know, next year or the year after or something.
Yeah.
I mean, your legislature meets every year, right?
yeah. So I think this.
And
that'd be
also
good.
about the, okay, talk about, you see, moderate drought. Where's the, oh yeah, at least moderate droughts. That's only D1.
D1.
So basically, D1 or above is going to ring the bell, right?
Right. At least, yeah.
Pretty
So
low
D1 and above.
threshold, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a relatively low threshold. I think, you know, most of federal USDA laws or, you know, relief, you know, vehicles, whatever they might be, I think they're keyed on severe drought, which is D2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
But
too.
of course,
the federal.
there's nothing to prevent a state from, you know, setting the bar lower, I would assume.
Right. Yeah, I haven't. This is the first time I've seen this, and I haven't seen any of the bill, the technical part, how they came up with this. So this is new to me. So there's some good comments on that. I'll forward them on.
Yeah, the great information to have, David, to see how they're, you know, how at the state level, in addition to the federal level, we already know they're using the drought monitor at the federal level. To see it being used like this.
Why would you want to do that?
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad they're using it as opposed to using some other index outside of the drought monitor. Okay. So, and I got an email from Farm Service. So I think, let's see, what are the, Joy Lynn said they weren't able to, or Emilita weren't able to make it again. They will, they thank us for including them, but we'll get some updates from them next month. All right, so any other topics that need to be brought up? Any other thoughts or questions for any of the previous reports?
I have Susan. Was someone about to ask a question?
No, I was just going to make a comment. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, I was going to give you a brief report from State Forestry.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, great. Go ahead.
I'm sorry we haven't regular on this, but I've got people lined up now that I think we will be able to start.
Oh, awesome!
Providing.
Oh, great! I'll add you in on the agenda. Will that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll put you on the agenda for next week. But yeah, go ahead with whatever information you have. I would really appreciate it.
All right. So the entire state, we're seeing fire activity statewide. It started a little early this year, but we haven't had big canopy fires yet, mainly because of the ambient temperatures being pretty moderate and having some moisture. But we do expect to see an increase in fire activity as the temp goes up and the winds increase. The predictions for what we can expect are kind of dynamic and largely depending on the jet stream, which we've seen fluctuations in the pattern over the last month. We're expanding our firefighting capability. We always hire seasonals for our district offices, and now we have a permanent returning heroes program based out of Santa Fe where we're hiring vets, and we're really gearing up. We expect to have about 50 vets in that program soon, besides our people at the district offices. So I will send that in a written report plus some links and a couple of maps. The maps are showing the observed fire danger class for what it is today and what we expect for the next week. It'll show, I should have sent it ahead of time. It'll show that it's concentrated on the west side of the state and expanding eastward across the southern half of the state. We're, as far as significant wildland fire potential is reported through the predictive services, we're expecting normal for the rest of April, which is, usually normal for us is getting into the high end. May into July, it's going to be above normal into far southwestern New Mexico, moving in from Arizona, and the rest will be near normal, with the exception of below normal for some parts of New Mexico. Where low elevation grass fires usually come more common in April, before the full green up in May, but we're seeing green up in, like who was saying you saw it down south. I was down there last week, and things were looking better than they have for a couple of years. And fire season for the northern part of the state, the southern Rocky Mountains, usually really ramps up in May and early June. So that's what we're expecting. I'll send you the report. I'll send you a next person, because last month one of the TV stations called here the next day looking for somebody, and we just got a new PIO on board, Sarah Hayes. So I'll send her contact information, because if there are any questions or requests for interviews, they should go to her.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. That was a nice summary. That's good. So some short-term.
Yeah, next time I'll have some more information on forest health. I just was behind the 8 ball this time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Or if you want to just send them out to myself or Chuck, and then we could forward out to the list.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Any other bits of information? Anything on impacts?
Okay. I wanted to mention the Rio Grande runoff meeting tomorrow, 8 to noon here in Albuquerque. I know some of you will be there.
Rio Grande runoff. Who's is that USDA, NRCS, or?
Yeah, the building here on Jefferson.
Okay.
Chris is, I think, kind of heading that up.
Yeah, I'll be hosting that tomorrow at the NRCS building here in Albuquerque off Jefferson.
How much more?
Okay. It's pretty much the same information, or is there additional information provided, more in-depth detail, or? I haven't gone to these meetings.
It's similar. It's very similar to what we've just gone over. I guess some different presentations. Anne Marie's actually there, and then several of the people that are in this meeting are actually attending. But it's very similar to this. It's an opportunity for me to meet some people that are out of state, like my forecasters are coming from Portland.
So
it'll be a different spin on things, but very similar.
Okay. I'm just trying to decide if I need to go to this. I've never met.
Welcome.
I don't think I've ever met you in person, Chris.
Sure. Yeah, I know. I haven't met a lot of people in person. You're welcome to attend. It's tomorrow from 8 to 10 or 8 to noon. At the USDA building on Jefferson.
Do you have an agenda or something?
I do.
Yeah. Can you forward that to me?
What's your email?
It's DW Dubois, DUBOIS at nmsu.edu. And I think if you can just look on the agenda that I sent out. I don't know if did you get the copy of the agenda?
I can see it up on the screen right now.
But did you get it? Did you get it through email?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so you can just reply back to that. So make sure I get your name on the list, but I'm sure we do.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the agenda along with the live meeting invite.
Okay.
In the event that you can't make it, you just want to teleconference in.
Oh, okay. Great. Wonderful. So any other bits of information before we
Dave,
yeah, go ahead.
this is Molly. I just wanted to tell you that I talked to the state engineer's assistant, and they're trying to find a date for a drought task force meeting. It would be in Santa Fe, and she said May to June.
Okay.
So I think they're trying to pin down some time, and that's the extent of what I know.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, go ahead and forward that a date whenever you get, as soon as you get that.
I will.
And then depending on whether Chuck or so Chuck, are you back in, or is Brian taking over your place, or you're back and forth?
Brian taking over things. It's just his schedule was very detrimental to being here today.
Oh, okay.
This is the only day off out of 15 in a row, I think.
Oh, okay. I understand. Okay. I'm just curious, and who to send. I'll send it to both of you if anything else I get.
Yeah.
So that should cover everything. Okay. Anything else? Very good. I hear silence. So let's schedule our meeting in May. CPC updates on the 21st, the Thursday, and we traditionally have it the next week after that. 25th is Memorial Day, which is not a good day. What about the day after Memorial Day, May 26th? That's a Tuesday. Will that work for you guys? Weather Service?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or go to. Okay. Anybody else have any problem with 26th? Any other big meetings or anything going on? So there's no conflicts, major conflicts. Okay. All right. Good. Let's go ahead and write that in for next month. The May Drought Monitoring Workgroup will be on May 26th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So put that on your calendars. I'm writing it in right now. So if anything else comes up, just email out to the group, or if you want to just email to Chuck or myself, and we can email it out, and any other bits of information, and then we'll get that up so we can share it. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll send out an email to the drought monitor with a little bit of information on what possibilities on Eastern Otero and Southwest Chaves of possibilities of going down one category for that area. So that's our meeting for April. Thank you for everybody who are on. I'll talk to you next month.
Great. Bye.
All right. See ya.